So, good day everyone. So for today's video, I'm going to explain and summary the chapter 4, which is bacterial growth requirements. So let's proceed. Microbial growth refers to an increase in number of cells rather than increase in all size. Many microbes are unicellular, meaning this microbial growth they are made of only one cell. So, to continue with this, living organisms, according to my understanding and research about microbial growth is to continue this one. The growth indicates that an organism is an active metabolism in plants and animals. We can say that the increase in height or size growth commonly refers to increase. So, as what I said earlier, it refers to increase in size, but with microorganisms, particularly bacteria. So, this terms refers to changes in total population rather than increase in size or mass of individuals' organisms. So the change in population in bacteria chiefly involves binary fission. So a cell dividing by binary fission is immortal unless subjected to stress by nutrient depletion or environmental stress. Therefore, a single bacterium continuously divides. One cell divides and providing two cells, and two cells divide providing four cells, and so on. So, therefore, the population increases by the geometric progression. To discuss the various nutritional and physical requirements of bacteria for growth. So, first, the purpose of nutritional requirements is to play a fundamental role in determining the growth of individuals. To an appropriate growth progression is considered a harbinger of adequate nutrient intake and good health. So, nutritional requirements. First, the carbon. Carbon makes up the structural backbone or this what we called a skeleton of all organic molecules. So, based on their carbon source, microorganisms may be classified into organisms may be classified according to their source of carbon. So, for autotrophs means convert inorganic carbon dioxide into organic carbon. So, for heterotrophs use fixed organic carbon compounds. Organisms may be also classified according to their energy source. The phototrophs obtain their energy from light. So next is for both autotrophs and heterotrophs, their energy may be derived from either light, polytotrophs, and photoorganotrophs, or the oxidation of inorganic substances. Most medically important bacteria are hemorganotrophs. So, for nitrogen, sulfur, phosphorus are the synthesis of nucleic acid. Approximately 40% of the dry weight of a bacterial cell is nitrogen, and about 4% is sulfur and phosphorus. While for inorganic ions, these include magnesium, potassium, calcium, iron, and trace elements. So, calcium is an important component of gram-positive. So, as what I understand in the previous chapter, for the gram-positive bacterial cell wall, this gram-positive bacterial cell wall contributes to the resistance of bacterial endospores against adverse and environmental conditions. So, for growth factors are essential. These growth factors is to promote the growth and development of the bacterial cell. So let's proceed for physical requirements. Physical requirements, for physical requirements, so the physical requirement for growth that are optimal for bacterial growth vary dramatically for different bacterial types. So the first four physical requirements are moisture or water. So this moisture or water, the purpose for this is it serves as the medium from which bacteria acquire their nutrients. Second, for physical requirements is oxygen. So the use of oxygen for physical requirements is used by aerobic bacteria for cellular respirations and serve as the final electron acceptor. Microorganisms are classified as either aerobes or anaerobes based on their oxygen requirements. Microbes that cannot survive in the presence of oxygen are called obligate anaerobes. These organisms do not have the enzymes that break down free radicals in the body. So these are organisms that can grow and survive under both anaerobic and anaerobic conditions. So in the previous, the microbes that cannot survive in the presence of oxygen are called obligate anaerobes, while for the survive for the presence of oxygen called facultative organisms. These most medically important bacteria are facultative. Some organisms are able to grow at low oxygen tension. The rate of growth is diminished. Next is temperature. So, enhanced enzyme activity requires certain temperatures. So, microbes are classified into three groups based on their temperature requirements, namely thermophiles, which these thermophiles don't know. These thermophiles which grow best at temperatures higher than 40 degrees Celsius. Second, for mesophiles, these mesophiles required an optimal temperature of 20 degrees Celsius to 40 degrees Celsius. And for psychrophiles, which required an optimum temperature of 10% degrees Celsius to 20 degrees Celsius. Most medically important bacteria are mesophiles, than thermophiles, and psychrophiles. So, for osmotic conditions, most organisms grow best under ideal conditions of osmotic pressure, which is determined by the salt concentration. So, the optimal condition is if the external environment also has the same salt concentration. So, for the bacterial growth curve, illustrates the phases and the growth of the population of bacteria when they are grown in culture of fixed volume. Also, it reflects the different stages and the growth of the organisms and divided into four. These log phase, stationary phase, and death or decline phase. So for wait. So for log phase, this period, the number of cells doesn't increase. However, considerable metabolic so log phase, the number of cells doesn't increase. However, considerable metabolic activity is occurring as the cells prepare to grow. So in short, this phase may not occur if the cells used to inoculate a new culture in the log phase and provided conditions are the same. So for log phase, logarithmic or exponential phase. So all numbers increase exponentially during each generation time. The number of cells and the population increases by a factor. The number of microbes in the exponentially increasing population increases slowly at first, then extremely rapidly. Organisms in a tube of culture medium can maintain log growth for only a limited time. So as nutrients are used up, metabolic wasted accumulate microbes. So for logarithmic or exponential phase, this period is characterized by rapid cell division resulting in increase in the number of bacteria. So as what I have said earlier, this phase is for increase in the number of bacteria. So for this stationary phase, this phase, the number of cells doesn't increase, but changes in cells occur. Cell becomes smaller and synthesize components to help them survive longer periods without growing. So may even what we call this one. So may even produce endospores. So the signal to enter this space may have to do with overcrowding, accumulation of metabolic byproducts, depletion of nutrients, and so on. So for lastly, for death phase, in this phase, cells begin to die out. So death occurs exponentially, but at a low rate. Death occurs because cells have depleted intracellular ATP reserves. Not all cells necessarily die during this phase. This is due to the continuous depletion of nutrients and accumulation of waste materials. Spirulation continues to occur during this stage. The duration of this phase varies from a few hours to a few days. To some what we call this one? To summarize this, so the bacteria required optimum nutrient and physical nutrition for their growth. So bacteria are classified into two groups based on their carbon source: autotrophs, lithotrophs, and heterotrophs or organotrophs. So physical requirements. So as what I said, physical requirements of bacteria include moisture, oxygen, temperature, pH, and osmotic conditions. So those bacteria cells is made up of mostly of water, which serves as the medium from which bacteria derive their nutrients. Thus, organisms that require oxygen for optimal growth are called aerobes, while those that cannot survive in the presence of oxygen are called anaerobes. So for Facultative organisms are those which can grow in the presence of absence of oxygen. Based on their nutritional and physical requirements, most medically important bacteria are chemoorganotrophs, facultative mesophiles, and neutrophiles. The bacterial growth while the bacterial growth curve illustrates the phases of growth of the bacterial population growth and culture of fixed volume. It is divided into the motto siya ang log phase, stationary phase, and death or decline phase. That's all.